On this episode of MythBusters,
Drives like a cushioned dream.
it's the Great Gas Conspiracy.
The end of the oil monopoly, man!
As Adam and Jamie put mythical mileage boosters to the test.
That's the coolest thing ever.
Meanwhile, Kari, Tory, and Grant hammer out a farmyard fashion disaster.
Somebody order some exploding pants?
Can corrosive chemicals really cause trousers to turn torpedo?
3, 2, 1!
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
Ants are all over my head, man.
and Jamie Heineman.
Gets me all worked up just looking at it.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was heavy.
Joining them, Grant Imahara,
Go get him, boy.
Tori Belleci,
Whoa.
and Kari Byron.
That was crazy!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. First up, a myth from the very underside of the world. From the country that gave us the backdrop to The Lord of the Rings comes another explosive epic that would strike fear into even the most hardened hobbit. The myth of the exploding trousers.
All right, this is a funny one. In 1931, in New Zealand, a sudden and deadly epidemic hit the country. Farmers' pants started exploding.
You're kidding.
Totally serious. They started exploding on the wash lines, in front of fires, and sometimes on the farmers themselves.
We all know that there can be explosive chemicals on farms, and it seems that the Kiwi farmers started using a new chemical, which, once it stained their clothes, it could explode.
This is too perfect for us. You guys aren't making this up.
It brings new meaning to the term fashion disaster. The first victim survived when his trousers allegedly blew up in front of the fire, but others weren't so lucky.
Well, I guess in order to make sure that these stories aren't exaggerated, your job is to get some farmyard explosives and some pants.
The pants are going to be the easy part. Getting the explosives, that's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Well, I've been doing a little bit of research, and it seems like there could be 4 culprits to this. 1, it could be made from gunpowder, or it could be made from herbicide, it could be made from fertilizer, or possibly even some acids.
So your job is to get these together, mix them with some pants and see which one goes boom?
It's not really going to be that easy. We have 2 major issues to deal with. First of all, I'd like to start in the small scale, because it's possible none of them work, and then we're busted right there. Secondly, I'm pretty sure making explosives is illegal, so we're going to have to get the FBI involved.
And we're also going to have to shoot this in a way that audiences can't copy us. Because let's face it, we don't want people going around making exploding pants.
So that's the plan. The team is going to get hold of 4 common 1930s farmyard chemicals, add some secret ingredients, and see which, if any, can make trouser torpedoes. So, first things first, the hot pants.
I have procured some 100% cotton overalls, and I'm cutting some swatches out of it that are going to be 3x3 squares so that we can do a few small-scale experiments.
To help reveal the killer culprit, the team is going to start the atomic trouser testing in miniature, where they're going to be helped by former FBI agent Frank Doyle. As Adam and Jamie know, Frank is a handy friend to have.
These are .223 caliber tracer rounds.
After all, it was Frank who helped shoot up a gas tank.
Today are
This time, he's here to give a Booms for Beginners class.
just like the flight attendants tell you when you're flying on an airplane, safety is number 1, so we want to do everything very safely.
Frank's safety brief is crucial because making farmyard explosions can be very, very dangerous.
Any questions?
I have one question. Did MythBusters have an FBI file?
Gal, I don't know. That sounds like an administrative question.
So it's classified, is that what you're saying?
It's classified, just like the wretched recipes that the team is about to make. Starting with Grant.
Okay, we ready, Frank?
Let's do it.
Grant's farm ingredient is a 1930s fertilizer, but the rest of the concoction is a MythBusters secret.
Start with drops. You'll need very little.
It's a delicate operation because one false move could spell disaster.
Frank, this is like the world's most dangerous cooking show.
With exploding Trouser culprit 1 all cooked up, it's on to Kari's number 2.
Okay, black powder is something you would definitely find on a farm, and I'm not sure that everybody in New Zealand could be spreading this on their clothes enough to create quite a panic, but it is something explosive.
But because black powder won't cling on clothes, Kari's turning it into a sticky liquid sludge.
It's looking good. Do you not like your black powder gravy too lumpy?
With 10 swatches smeared with the gruesome gravy, suspect 2 is all set.
Okay, that's it for the black powder laundry.
So it's time for Tory.
What I have right now is a herbicide, and they used it in New Zealand where this myth came from. This could be potentially explosive.
Tory's herbicide is another culprit in this clothing conundrum.
Frank, why are you standing so far away?
Because I want to continue to live.
So then the next question is, why am I standing so close?
With this third suspect close to finishing, it's back to Kari for the final rancid recipe, gun cotton.
We know for a fact that when we make the nitrocellulose, it's actually going to change the properties of this cotton and make it into something totally different, which is definitely explosive. So, we've done this before. We made gun cotton in the Confederate rocket story. So I'm somewhat of an expert.
Don't be tricked by its cuddly appearance. It was Kari's cotton wool that gave the Confederate rocket its initial thrust. And just like before, making it is pretty hazardous.
You see all that smoke coming off? That doesn't look so good. God, this stuff is nasty.
Because Kari is so confident that this will have explosive results in the small-scale testing, she's also going to prepare a full pair of gun cotton pants for when the team ramps things up.
So are we ready for our giant fallout cloud of badness?
Under Frank's careful supervision, Kari starts mixing alarmingly large amounts of the hazardous ingredients.
Okay, we are gonna wait 5 minutes.
But almost immediately, the reaction starts to spiral out of control. The pants plume out more smoke than a Baltimore bingo hall, and then they start dissolving.
That's 1 minute so far. 4 minutes to go. Is there gonna be any pants left?
It's all gone a bit pear-shaped.
I'm cracking the jar.
So Kari and Tory follow the MythBusters mantra. If anyone knows what to do, it's Jamie.
Wow, this stuff is nasty.
So what do we got?
Well, this one is the Great Gas Conspiracy, and it is that the automakers and the fuel suppliers are in collusion with each other to keep us dependent on expensive gasoline and inefficient cars. And there is a host of devices out there that are supposed to help you beat them and stick it to the man.
That'd be great.
So we're gonna blow the lid off this thing.
Conspiracy theorists say oil companies and car makers share the profits gained by deliberately keeping cars inefficient. But there are a whole host of devices that can supposedly cut your fuel consumption dramatically. And the magnetic MythBusters are going to put these to the test.
What's the plan?
Well, you know, some of these devices work on carbureted cars and some of them work on fuel-injected cars.
Sounds like we should get one of each type.
Absolutely. And, you know, the other thing is, I say we do this under super-controlled lab conditions.
Well, they have those things, I think they're called dynamometers.
Oh, the thing they put the cars on
Yeah.
while they're testing, they're stationary?
And we should also put the gasoline in an exterior vessel that we can track and we can visually see how much we're consuming.
I don't think anyone will have any ability to complain about our methodology here.
Yeah.
They will.
You can count on it. They're going to get the top 4 miracle cures and fit them to 2 styles of car. Then, at the dynamometer, they'll see which device keeps their wallets the fattest. First things first, the cars. Car 1 is a mid-90s fuel-injected run-of-the-mill runaround. But Carburetor Car 2 is something altogether more retro.
This is a nice car.
Yeah, it's your style, isn't it?
I love it. Drives like a cushioned dream. Look at that.
Seems like it's in good shape. It's real clean.
This is a road trip car. We're going to Vegas in it when we're all done. Me and Jamie.
But why have these gas gamblers got two cars in the first place?
This is a best-selling car from the 70s, American-made, 8-cylinder, carbureted. And the black one here is one of the best-selling foreign cars of the 90s, 4-cylinder, fuel-injected. Two great representative samples of, like, do-it-yourself car improvement platforms to test on.
With both cars up and running, the MythBusters next turned mechanics, but without much success.
What is this? That's what I also don't know.
They're trying to work out which of the many tubes is the fuel line that connects the gas tank to the engine.
This hose right here.
Yeah, that's fuel.
That's fuel, and I'm going to try and turn the engine over.
Okay, and I should see fuel squirt out of that all over the hot engine, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, no, stop.
Bingo! With the fuel line sussed, Jamie disconnects it from the gas tank and attaches it to an acrylic gas-holding cylinder, which will let them see precisely how much fuel the cars consume. And that means they're ready for those mythical money-saving devices. And where can those be found? Why, the internet, of course.
What I have so far, fuel line magnets and a carburetor that is purported to give you 300 miles per gallon. I've also gotten plans for a homemade fuel cell that you can build that converts water into hydrogen gas that you can use to run your car.
Grant's hydrogen fuel cell is all about electrolysis. When you apply a voltage to electrodes in water, the H2O molecules split into hydrogen and oxygen. This internet patent can allegedly generate so much hydrogen that you can run a car with it. And to build it, Grant and Adam first hit the electrical store, one of their all-time favorite places.
I need some 10K resistors.
How many?
About half a dozen.
While Grant gets down to business, Adam is also pouching with excitement.
Kangaroo works its way towards the mother's belly. And that is so cool.
7 hours later, they return to base. Adam's going to build the electrolysis device as detailed in the internet plans.
That right there is the business end of the oil monopoly, man!
While Grant is concentrating on the power. It's the current through the electrodes that should cause hydrogen to be released.
This should be a square wave, and right now it's kind of a nasty sawtooth.
After an hour of fernickety fiddling, Adam's fuel cell is connected to Grant's power circuit, and everything's ready for a test.
Dude, I see bubbles. Check it out.
Yeah,
See?
it is bubbling.
It's working. Hydrogen is bursting forth. But will these tiny bubbles be enough to fuel a car?
This was what I first thought was going to be the label. And then I thought, I can say that simpler. And I came up with, sticking it to the man.
"1930s farms were seriously dangerous places. There was the giant machinery and the unpredictable animals. But were there also exploding trousers? Or was it more a case of liar, liar, pants on fire? To put this blast of a myth to the test, the team has carefully made 4 potential farmyard howitzers to see if any could cause trousers to turn torpedo. So that just leaves the detonation systems.
All right, so in order to blow these pants up, we need to find out certain systems of ignition.
Well, why don't we just go through the scenarios of the myth, the different ways that they possibly could ignite? Like, say, you light a cigarette, spark falls onto your pants, they blow up.
We could do friction, because apparently these were blowing up as people were walking.
One of the most famous stories was when it was drawing in front of the fire, right? So maybe something, a radiant heat source, a heater?
And impact. If you sat down really hard, they might burst into flame.
To try to expose the exploding trouser culprit, the team is going to subject each of the volatile vagrants to each of the 4 detonation systems. The recipe that blasts off most often will then be ramped up for the big scale test. And for round 1, it's Kari's unusual open flame ignition system.
I picked the cigarette instead of just dropping a match, specifically for the reason I wanted to create a realistic scenario as to why these pants might come in contact with something such as a cigarette to make them explode.
She's hoping that the falling ash will be hot enough to ignite the fabric below. And first up, it'll be landing on Grant's fertilizer-treated trousers.
All right, step back.
Smoke faster.
Kari's smoking as fast as a school kid in the washroom, but gets nowhere fast. Even quick wrists Imahara can't get any satisfaction.
Are you touching it? Yeah.
So for take 2,
Ready?
it's out with the cigarette and in with the match. But the results are a little disappointing.
I would not exactly call that an energetic ignition.
So, fertilizer plus flame is, infertile. Next up, the black powder. But remember, the black powder was mixed with water.
I thought this was gonna be a little more exciting. I thought we were gonna get a little blast out of this one.
Yeah, it's like threatening to blow up.
Oh, come on.
I think if I were the farmer, I would still have time to get my pants off and run before it caused any problem.
All right, so we're ruling out gunpowder.
I would rule it out.
All right.
Next, let's do my favorite, my specialty, gun cutting. I know for a fact that this is going to be somewhat explosive, so just in case, maybe put on your ear protection.
Okay.
So far, it's 0 for 2. Can Kari's gun cotton do any better?
This is your specialty.
This stuff's supposed to be gun cotton.
Should I take off my ear protection now?
Yeah.
It's another flame failure. That just leaves the weed killer concoction. Can this Herbie go bananas?
All right.
That is awesome. Look at that.
That is graduating to the next level. Like,
Could you imagine walking down the street and this happening in your pants? Poof! That would suck.
So the herbicide is winning so far, but how will they all respond to the next ignition test? Radiant heat.
We've got our powerful light. Right now, I've got a probe right at the top, and we're at a little bit over 300 degrees.
2 degrees?
It's just like a farmer drying his trousers in front of a fire. And just like the last test, not a lot happens. The fertilizer doesn't fizzle, the gun cotton doesn't go off. There's some sparkles from the black powder.
Nice.
But then once again, the herbicide takes the cake. The weed killer burns with a massive amount of energy and is easily the emerging culprit for this explosive myth.
Every week, a couple of geeks from San Francisco face a challenge.
For this week's challenge, the MythBusters have turned mechanics as they put miracle cures for gas guzzlers to the test.
I guess we just put it like that.
Adams built a hydrogen fuel cell.
I see bubbles.
And the team has got hold of the internet's best-selling gas-saving devices.
Super efficient carburetor, my.
So now they're all set to head to the Dynamometer test facility. But the omens are not looking good.
Look, the efficiencies of internal combustion engines are really well known. In the case of a gasoline engine, you're losing about 60% to heat, and that only leaves 30 to 40% for mechanical energy. In the case of a diesel, it's more like 50-50.
So there's not a hell of a lot of percentage points to play with for improving your efficiency.
No, you're only going to improve by like around 10%, and that's nowhere near these hundreds of miles per gallon that some of these bolt-on devices claim to get.
So you just won't get that. The physics won't allow it.
Not possible.
The spinning dynamometer is the perfect place to test these miracle cures because it should let Adam and Jamie get very precise mileage readings.
We've got the car on the dyno. We've got the other car waiting to go on. So the first thing we're going to do is our baseline test with cars unmodified.
For a point of comparison, using a set amount of fuel, they'll calculate the miles per gallon of each car. First at 35 miles an hour.
17 miles per gallon.
Okay.
And then at a highway average, 55 miles an hour.
Tell you, it's a lot more fuel efficient in its main gear at 55. We're getting 25.5 miles per gallon.
With the baselines for the carburetor car cached, bring on the first miracle cure, the magnets.
Okay, so it says to put it as close as we can to the carburetor.
Okay, magnet test. Here we go.
According to the box, the magnets work on the principles of hydrodynamics and align the fuel molecules in such a way that they burn better. But what does that mean? We asked our graphics guy to explain it, but he didn't understand it either. So it's a mystery how they work. But have they had any effect at 55 miles an hour?
The baseline reading at 55 is 25.66. I come out with 25.55.
Okay.
No change.
No change at 55. And at 35, it's the same story.
Well, what does that tell us?
It busts this whole magnet, fuel, electromagnetics thing wide open, man. It's crap.
It's strike one for the gas conspiracy theory.
So the next test is acetone mixed with gasoline. What we have to do is put about a 500-to-1 ratio in here, which amounts to 2 milliliters of acetone in with the gasoline.
The idea is that the acetone somehow makes the gas burn more completely. But does it work at 35 miles an hour?
Well, it uses up fuel a little faster, which gives us miles per gallon of 16.65 with acetone, as opposed to 17.03 without acetone.
So acetone makes the car less efficient, a result confirmed with the 55 mile an hour test. Next up, the miracle carburetor.
I'm gonna get behind the wheel.
This latest device can supposedly increase mileage to 300 miles per gallon. But Adam's out of gas even before he's reached the baseline level.
17.69 miles to the gallon. It's a lot less than 25.5 miles to the gallon.
I don't see any potential for 100 or 200 or 300 miles per gallon out of this thing. Darn.
Farmyard chemicals can be downright dangerous. They can hinder your health in a whole host of ways. But can any of them ever make your trousers explode? To find out, the team is putting 4 potential farmyard fizzlers to the test. So far, the Herbicide is winning, but there are still 2 detonation devices left. Starting with Tory's friction maker, which supposedly imitates the way farmers walk.
They were walking like this. In this, there's a lot of friction builds up between the legs when you walk like that.
Can this mincing machine really lead to a trouser explosion?
Your farmer's walking pretty fast.
What's that?
Your farmer's walking pretty fast.
Yeah, he's in a hurry.
Despite the farmer breaking the world sprint record, there's no immediate ignition.
Let it go.
No, he's not done walking. Better hurry up.
After a marathon run, none of the samples, not even the Herbicide, smoke at all. Which leaves one final detonation device. It's hammer time. When it comes to heavy impact, Grant Imahara is your man. On the hit TV show BattleBots, an even younger-looking Grant was inflicting damage in lethal blows. His robot dead blow was feared across the land, and this killer hammering action is just what this myth needs. Grants replaced Dead Blow's dagger with a sledgehammer. And hey presto, here's an impact detonator.
That's gonna be great.
So this is cotton with black powder.
In 3, 2, 1. Well, it hit it.
It hit it.
It was right on the money, but with the black powder, there's no trouser detonation.
I think that rules that out pretty fast.
3.
So the team tries again with the fertilizer, but get the same result. Then it's Kari's specialty, the gun cotton. Not a peep. Last up, the current leader, the herbicide.
Mash it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Holy mackerel! Oh my God! That was sweet. Oh, fire!
Where?
Just we can just yeah.
I think we have our exploding pants.
Yeah, I say.
Great.
With the herbicide, it's a case of now you see it, now you don't.
This is my favorite new stuff.
Tory's herbicide really can make trousers explode. And what's more, in 1930s New Zealand, this stuff was abundant.
So I've been doing a little bit of background research on this myth, and I found out that New Zealand farmers were using our classified weed killer, but in the 1930s, the amount they were using totally skyrocketed.
Why is that?
In the 1920s, it seems that ragwort was accidentally introduced into the ecosystem.
Oh, ragwort's that like super aggressive weed. It overtakes crops. It's toxic to livestock. I think it's a problem even today.
Exactly, and you know that's why they wanted to get rid of it as fast as possible. And of course, what was the miracle cure in that era?
Oh, our classified chemical.
But to confirm once and for all that this horrid herbicide is definitely the clothing culprit, there's one final test it has to pass.
We're gonna wash our swatches so that we can find out if they're still explosive after they've been washed, which is part of the myth, since some of those trousers were hanging on lines, they were drying in front of fires, and they still went up.
The spin cycle of an authentic 1930s washing machine is the last hurdle for the herbicide.
Now, why are we using this soap in particular?
Because this soap's been around since the early 1800s and was used as a laundry soap.
If the cotton is still nasty after washing, then the team has found its calamitous chemical.
Swatches have been washed and dried. Let's see if they retain their explosive nature.
For this last test, they're going with the drying by the fire or radiant heat detonation system.
Well, if these go up after being washed, that's crazy.
Oh, there it goes. Woo!
It may look a little wishy-washy, but this test proves that the team has solved the clothing conundrum. Trousers tainted with this common-at-the-time herbicide really can go off with a bang.
After having washed it, it definitely behaves a lot differently than if it was just regular jeans. I can hear a lot of little sparks going, and it went up really fast. I think this definitely lends to the validity of this myth.
All right, let's move on to the full scale.
Here you are with it. Here you are without it.
Every year, Americans spend billions of dollars fueling their cars. To try to claw some of that back, the MythBusters are putting miracle gas cures to the test.
Faster pickup getaway, more miles per gallon than you ever dreamed were possible.
But they're not doing well. Their carburetor car scored 0 for 3. Nothing improved its mileage. So they swapped to the more modern fuel-injected car.
Ever since Jamie had one of these installed, he's felt much better.
Some of the mythical cures will supposedly work better on a more modern car. But unfortunately, neither the magnets
This is such total horse.
nor the acetone mixture increase mileage at all.
It's not like it magically changes lead into gold or something like that. You know, it's a no-brainer.
All the magical cures so far have failed to improve fuel efficiency, and some have even made it worse. But is anyone really that surprised?
Look, the EPA takes claims of fuel efficiency very seriously and has tested over 100 devices for their improvements.
Yeah, out of 104 that they tested, only about 7 showed any improvement at all, and it was only up to about 6%.
Well, your mood can affect your driving a hell of a lot more than 6%.
Yeah, studies have shown that you can reduce your mileage by up to around 33% by aggressive driving due to, bad mood.
Do you actually have moods?
No.
Back at the dyno, the cars have been swapped around for one final test, the pièce de résistance.
This is the one that I've been waiting for. This is the water car hydrogen fuel cell. And this is the one that, if it works, is making this one of the most legendary hours of television ever broadcast.
They're about to see if they can run a car on flammable hydrogen gas produced by electrolysis.
This is the instructions on the patent, that you bolt the output of the fuel cell right to the throat of your carburetor.
There'll be no gasoline, just hydrogen fed straight into the carburetor. But will the car even start?
We're making history. Oh my God!
Oh my God is right. The car's working. But sadly, it's not because of the hydrogen.
Oh, I think that was a little bit of residual fuel in the system. What do you think?
I think that's the case.
It wasn't a miracle, just some leftover gasoline in the engine.
I'm gonna turn it over again. Let's give it another shot. Come on! All right. My God! It doesn't work! I can't believe it doesn't work. I found it on the internet, man!
The electrodes are just not giving off enough gas. But to test whether a car could even run on hydrogen in the first place, the boys are going to hose some directly into the carburetor.
Ready?
Yeah,
okay, here we go.
Okay.
Okay. That's the coolest thing ever. I guess you could, if you had a lot of hydrogen, run your engine completely without any other modifications.
Let's do it again.
You know there's going to be trouble when it's all going so well.
Whoops. Okay, that's enough of that test.
With a rather nasty backfire, it's time to back out.
I think it's best if we just let it go.
In the myth of exploding trousers, the Herbicide has been ID'd as the pant protagonist. But before ramping this up to full scale, Kari wants to make this classified concoction even nastier.
What we found out from a 1930 agricultural journal from New Zealand is that sugar works as an accelerant.
Yeah, so I know what that means.
I'd like to call this Jelly Bear Suicide.
The Jelly Bear is taking one for the team because sugar should make the Herbie doubly dangerous.
Bombs away. Oh, look at the little guy. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
Look at the cloud of death.
Oh my God.
Poor little guy. That was awesome.
Okay, well, I'm impressed. That was pretty amazing.
It was very cool. Well, now you know what we have to do. We have to bump this up to full scale. So I'm gonna take a pair of pants and just saturate the heck out of them, see if they explode.
Maybe just as a point of comparison, you know, just for fun, we could get a hold of a few real explosives.
Well, I'm sure Frank is gonna help us out with that.
I just want to see some really big exploding trousers.
At last, using the results of the small-scale test, it's finally time to ramp this myth up.
I mean, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, right?
Tory's completely coating a regular pair of pants in the weed killer concoction that Farmer Buster will wear out at the bomb range. But while these putrid pants should ignite, will they really make him explode?
I hope this works, because I can't wait to get into a pair of them.
With the overalls fully functional, it's time to hit the road and see if Buster will fly by the seat of his pants.
We're here at Alameda Sheriff facility.
And this is where Buster's gonna put on his exploding pants.
Frank Doyle's here. The bomb squad's here.
The paramedics are here.
We're gonna blow something up.
Well, it seems that everyone is here, so let's get started.
Somebody order some exploding pants?
The herbicide-encrusted cotton needs one last alteration before its explosive capability can be put to the test.
I am cutting off all of the metal bits from these pants because when they explode, these will become shrapnel.
Well, then maybe we should add more buttons.
With the pants prepped, step forward our naked volunteer farmer, Buster.
Buster, you don't want to do this? Well, that's too bad. Little fella, we're gonna blow your pants off.
Buster's well used to being the MythBusters stuntman, but what he's not used to is clothing.
Put too much starch in the pants.
This is one of the few times in MythBusters history that Buster's modesty, if not his body parts, will be kept intact. It's just a shame that he didn't get anything a bit more fashionable.
Now, if Buster reacts anything like that jelly bear, this should be quite exciting.
Once Buster is dressed to kill, all that remains is the detonation system.
The remote triggering system that the FBI is going to be using on our pants is probably closer to the impact triggering system that we had in our small-scale tests.
With the igniter wired up and the final touches in place, it's time for a Huckleberry Din.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
3, 2, 1!
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It burnt completely off.
It burnt from head, from wherever it blew up, his crotch, and it just totally burned off.
Naked!
Now that's what I call hot pants.
Once it started going, it was like fast.
Now imagine that just spontaneously happens to you out in a field.
It sure was nasty, but the explosion was pants. It was more a case of spontaneous Buster combustion than a trouser trigger.
The fact that his hat's still here shows how hot and fast this burned. It didn't even make it up to the hat. It just disintegrated really quickly.
But this myth isn't about disintegrating trousers, it's about exploding ones. So the gang is going to try again, this time with a pocket load more of the herbicide hodgepodge.
Good luck, buddy. Nice knowing you.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
3, 2, 1!
Wow.
That was great.
Whoa.
That obviously burned up twice as fast as that last
And
one.
it's much bigger, a bigger reaction.
That was cool.
The pockets of pesticide sure got Buster fired up. But was he fired up enough?
Here's my question, though. We call this myth exploding trousers. They didn't really explode.
No, I mean, they were just burning rapidly.
I have a feeling, though, if you were wearing those pants and they burn that fast, you would definitely claim explosion.
You need compression to have an explosion.
Well,
You are
not
so hard to please.
But I mean, if your pants burst into flames like this, how would you explain it to somebody?
Semantics. It's an explosion.
My pants blew up. That's what I'd say.
I'm with Kari and Tory on this one. It may not technically be an explosion, but did 1930s farmers really know the terminology? This is myth confirmed. The only remaining question is, would Buster have survived?
So as medical professionals, what do you think of the damage?
If he just had pants on, it would have burned up on the pants. Maybe he'd have a couple of burns up here in the chest area, but it wouldn't have gone any further.
So you're saying he lived?
Yeah.
Oh, he would have
definitely-
lived, yeah. He
definitely
would have
would've.
just maybe had some scarring from the burns, but a person could survive from it, definitely.
You lived! Yay! Look, you can see the smile on his face. Look, I'm alive!
Like a phoenix from the flames, Buster smolders to fight another day. But maybe not for long.
Buster, you're not over yet.
Well, there's your problem.
In the Great Gas Conspiracy, skid marks aside, Adam and Jamie have tested all of their mythical mileage boosters.
This is such total horse.
And the results are in.
All right, so our dynamometer tests. How did we do with the magnets?
Bupkis.
Acetone?
Bupkis.
The hydrogen fuel cell?
Less than bupkis.
And the miracle carburetor.
Even less than bupkis.
I think we still need some more exploration into ways to break yourself free of the man's death grip on your wallet.
Well, if the ultimate goal is to actually defeat this monopoly of fossil fuels, there is a way to do that, and maybe we can try it out.
And where does this mystery solution live?
I need some French fries and all the fry oil you can lay on me.
Why, the burger bar, of course.
That right there, it's the end of the gas conspiracy. Maybe.
It's used cooking oil, the gunk that gets left at the bottom of deep fat fryers. And believe it or not, this may be the next big thing.
I think that's it.
And back at the shop, it's refinery time.
This makes so many things taste so damn good. That's just wrong.
Apparently, all that's needed to convert this fatty fry oil into fuel is filter it. That's it.
This is obviously something that you do overnight. Not if you're like in a hurry to go get somewhere. I'll be there in a few minutes, man. Come on!
It's a time-consuming process, but given that it could result in free fuel, it's more than worth it.
There we go. That's a liter.
And to put it to the test, they're going to drive a circuit around Alameda in a diesel car, which has their viewable fuel tank attached.
I like this, Jamie. I think this is a nice, solid arrangement. Not gonna move. You can just tape that down.
Well, as long as you're happy, Adam.
Thank you, Jamie.
And with everyone happy, it's time to get started.
We've been hearing that people are running their cars completely without any modifications on used vegetable oil, like this.
But before experimenting with beefed up burger juice, they first need to test regular diesel to find the car's normal fuel consumption.
Hold on. You're pretty much exactly at a liter, so give it a tiny bit more. Up. That's perfect. Exactly right.
Okay, diesel, first run.
All right.
Ready.
Go.
The course is 2.9 miles long and has been designed so that they can maintain a steady 35 miles an hour all the way around.
We are very close to the end of this liter here, probably about a minute and a half, 2 minutes away tops.
They're going to drive lap after lap until they've used 1 liter of each fuel.
That's it, we are out of fuel.
What was the mileage on that?
8.8.
8.8, okay. 15 minutes and 15 seconds. 33 1/3 miles to the gallon on straight diesel.
With the baseline sussed, next up is the used cooking oil.
Ah, look at that. Pure power.
Pure power it may be, but will the car even start? Ka-ching! The engine is purring perfectly.
And if we don't meet again, I love you.
They're off. Remember, this is unmodified French fry oil, the gunk that restaurants up and down the country chuck out.
It seems to be running just fine.
They do the laps and get an MPG of 30, which for something that didn't cost a dime is pretty darn impressive.
Number one, I'm surprised and impressed that the car runs on just straight filtered used kitchen oil. But number two, the fuel efficiency, it's only 10% less than, regular diesel fuel.
Yeah, that's cool.
The other thing is we didn't make any modifications to this car. That means anybody who had a diesel car could just pour the stuff straight into the gas tank and it would run fine.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
So what do you think? Do you think the oil companies and the automakers are colluding to screw us?
Well, not a single one of the devices we tested did anything at all, with sole exception of used cooking oil.
Right, but that didn't make your engine any more efficient, and that only helps because it's currently free. As soon as that becomes a real economy, they're going to charge you for that like anything else.
Yeah, and considering the thermal efficiencies of these types of engines, you're simply not going to get these ultra-high mileages out of those.
If there was a way to make your engine super crazy efficient, we would know about it. It's busted.
Busted.
Back With the farmer's fable, it's myth confirmed. Farmyard chemicals can turn pants psycho. But given that this myth is called exploding trousers, we can't leave it at that.
You know, MythBusters, we always like to ramp it up to replicate the circumstances.
So you want to ramp up the results?
I want to see a pair of pants explode.
Buster did burn, baby, burn. But for this crew, that ain't enough. They want a real explosion, not a flash in the pan. Cue explosives expert Frank Doyle and his magic silver.
This is a high velocity explosive that we're using here, a specialty explosive, and it's much faster in detonating velocity than anything that we've used in previous episodes, so we expect Buster to get a pretty interesting ride.
This is serious stuff. Exploding with a velocity of 21,000 feet per second, this could be Buster's last goodbye.
In the vicinity of 5 minutes, his pants should be in New York. I think Madison Square Garden or Times Square or someplace like that.
With the last wires in check, this boom promises to be one of the biggest in MythBusters history. So hold on to your pants.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! 3, 2, 1.
Uh-oh.
I turned it on.
Now, that's a problem, isn't it?
Right about now, Buster should have been somewhere over Texas, but it seems he's missed his flight.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Let's try that again.
This is it, the main event.
2, 1.
Oh, no.
A little quieter than I thought.
So generally, if there's a live bomb and the trigger doesn't work, that's bad, huh?
That's not good.
With some ultra-dangerous explosives, this is the worst-case scenario. But at least we have the best in the business to sort it out.
Well, we had a Murphy's Law glitch. And apparently there was a minor break in the firing line. And that's being corrected. And we're going to move full speed ahead and go to Plan B.
Fire in the hole!
3, 2, 1.
Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Those are exploding pants.
Buster's not there anymore.
That's 10 milliseconds to blow them up and 3 hours to find the pieces.
That was
like
cool.
A little pop and then a...
Smoldering Buster parts all stinking over the field.
There's his face. That's a hat.
Frank, what'd you do to Buster?
Friends and family of Buster should look away now.
Bottom.
Shoot.
Okay, I got leg and knee, that's good.
I got a face, there's a thigh.
There's a chest and a head.
Even the great Humpty Dumpty was never this scrambled.
What do you got?
I got a hand.
That's all that's left of his pants.
But I guess all Humpty did was fall off a wall, whereas Buster just got blown to smithereens by the bomb squad.
I am not disappointed with these exploding pants. That was one of the finer explosions I've ever seen in my life. And when watching the high speed, you can actually watch body parts go off into the hills somewhere. Where, I don't know, but I'm sure they're out there.
Well, after that blast, as Frank said, Buster's on his way to New York. Now that's what I call flying by the seat of your pants.
So how did you guys go?
Dude, it was sick.
I think this might be my new favorite myth. We actually had exploding pants.
But you know what, though? The herbicide-treated pants were still really dangerous, and we know that that chemical was common in New Zealand at the time.
And I mean, if I was telling the story and I had a flash ignition in my pants, I would call it an explosion.
So you've got a little history and some exploding pants, and you can call this one...
Confirmed.
I sure hope this never happens in my pants.
Let's all pray it doesn't.